Hey there, I'm Rachel Koronek, professional food photographer, here to share tips and resources so that you can take incredible photos that are good enough to eat. Now, I've been a photographer for over 10 years, and I wanted to share 3 simple things that I do to remind my existing clients to hire me again. Now, there are obviously so many things that you can try, but I wanted to share the things that have worked for me that I also think are somewhat effortless and also don't annoy brands or clients. So the first one I'm going to share is my personal favorite. It's something I love doing and it feels effortless. It doesn't feel like work. And I think if you can find that thing, it makes it really easy to reach out to existing clients. So I'm going to give you an example of my existing cocktail clients. So I'm constantly on social media and Pinterest and looking at different concepts and photography. So when something really sparks my imagination or I get inspired by it, I always save it. And I think about the specific types of liquor brands and recipes that I can create for them. So when I find something that I think is really cool that I would love to work on and aligns with the brand, I save it into a specific folder. Then what I usually do is reach out to the client and be like, hey, I saw this really cool concept. I think we could do something similar. And I pitch them an idea. So clients love this for a number of reasons, especially if it's a small brand, because you're really helping them out with ideation. So it shows that you're being proactive, you understand the brand, and you can bring something creative to the table. The best part of all is I've often shared these ideas with clients and I've gotten paid and I've gotten hired to create the things that really excite me. So number 2 is something really simple and easy, but not to be underestimated. And that is to reshare a photo from a job that you did with a client. Now, if I look at my photography business, I have monthly retainer clients. There are clients that I work with over, say, a quarter for a specific season. And then there are other clients that I work with maybe once a year. So those once a year clients are the ones that I need to make sure that they remember me. So what I like to do is I like to share a photo that I loved from a particular photo shoot and then go ahead and mention or tag the brand, the creative agency, the director, art director, things like that. Now this works as a little reminder to say, hey, I'm still here and I'd love to work with you. But the thing that I've learned over doing this for a number of years is that people that work at magazines, agencies, and brands, they're just people that have jobs. And they move on. And I've worked with creative agencies who a year later, none of the contacts that I knew or worked with were still there. They just moved on to other jobs. So whoever had taken over that job, they might not have known I existed. They might not have remembered or known that I did that photo shoot. So you just want to pop in and say, hey, remember I did this shoot together and it went really well? And then maybe the new employees will remember who you are and decide to reach out. It also works in the opposite direction, that say somebody decided to move to a different creative agency, they might remember and say, oh, we should put Rachel on the photographer list because we did that shoot with her when I worked over at such and such, and we had such a great shoot and we got some really good assets. Number 3 is just to send a simple email. But maybe you're unsure of what to put in that email, what's going to help you stand out, what's going to be helpful to the client. So I recommend reaching out with either a portfolio update or sharing a new skill that you've acquired. Maybe you've started doing beverage photography, or maybe you've mastered noodle styling. Maybe you have a bunch of new props, or you've moved into a new studio. There's something more that you can offer them with your photography services. Now, sometimes we can feel a little bit icky or like we're bothering a brand by emailing them. But after doing this for so many years, you'll be surprised at what will come back. So you just never know if their go-to photographer wasn't available, or if someone pulled out or got sick at the last minute. And you might pop up in their inbox and be the answer to their prayers. They might have needed a photographer and there you are with a new skill that they're actually looking for. So don't get those little voices, don't let them tell you what to do, because your email could just be the savior that a client is looking for. So the flip side of that is perhaps the client doesn't get back to your email. And as a creative, we can take that so personally, like we're just not good enough. We're not good enough for clients to hire us. But what we have to remember is that email is text first. And no matter how good that photo is, if the subject line wasn't enticing for them to click on, or their inbox just got bombarded, then they're never going to see that photo. So we just have to keep trying, but also be courteous. Now, I've actually been lucky enough to do some takeovers with large brands, and I've been able to go into their social media accounts. And I've seen on the other side what it's like for brands and how many people are reaching out to them. I've seen the hundreds of DMs and I see the hundreds of tags that they can get in a day. Now, not to let that put you off, but sometimes there's a lot of noise out there. So it's not that you're not good enough, it's just how do you cut through that noise? So I think the way that we do that is we want to be really thoughtful in the content we're sharing. You want to only tag them in your best work. You don't want to tag them every day in like hundreds of things. And you just need to show up over time to convince them that you're worth working with. So sometimes with brands that I really wanted to work with, it took me like 5 years to get there. I just want to leave you with one thought before I go. And I'll be honest, it is easier to stand out when you have a larger following. But what I can also tell you is that I worked with one of the biggest photography brands when I didn't even have 10,000 followers. And they didn't even find me on social media. So the key is to share something you're passionate about, share your best work, and just show up time and time again. Reshare, I just bit my tongue. Don't underestimate. Oh my God, I'm so out of breath.